right, so do you want me to tell you a story about two little kids that going home? They've been out playing ever since school got out. It's getting a little bit late and they need to get on home. So they're walking down this old street road out in the country, and they see the old farmer up there, and he's breaking down his produce stand because it's the end of the day, and he's loading stuff on his little wagon and hauling it back to the barn and coming back out. So just as they're approaching his stand, he's got a load on his wagon and he's gone, and they know it's going to be a while before he gets back.
Yeah.
And as they go by, there's a bushel of oranges there. They just can't help themselves. They reach down, each of them grabs a side, and they take off with that bushel of oranges, and they're heading down the road, but they know he's going to be back pretty soon, and he had just about all the produce, so they know he's going to notice that them oranges are gone. So just as they're coming, they see the graveyard on the left. It's a good place. They'll just duck in there and hide out until, you know, it's time to go. So they're going over the gate. First kid jumps over, they put the bushel up there, and just, you know, anyway, they drop two oranges right there on the ground, drop them right there. But they know he's coming back, so they don't take the time to get back over there and grab them. They just leave them laying there. And into the first mausoleum, they hide behind it, right off the road there. It's not quite dark, the sun's going down a little bit, and they know they better wait. They got to kill some time, so they decide, well, you know what, we'll just divvy him up right here while we're waiting for him to be settled back into his house. About the time they start with one for you and one for me, this parishioner comes walking down the road right behind him, and he's heading to the Methodist church down there, and he hears them. He just hears them. They're in the graveyard. One for you, one for me. And it totally freaks him out. He runs right on down to the Methodist church there, and he goes in and he says, "Where's the pastor?" He's right over yonder. "Preacher, you got to come with me." He said, "You're not going to believe this. The Lord and the devil are in the graveyard, and they're divvying up souls right there." Now, of course, you know, the preacher don't believe none of that, but, you know, he's going to go down there with him. So they walk back down, and they're standing there at the gate, and they hear them. One for you, one for me. And then the preacher starts getting concerned because, you know, theology is all about, you know, free will, and you choose, and what you do here determines what eternally is like. He said, they're just sitting there willy-nilly divvying them up. This don't make a bit of sense. So he's getting nervous. The parishioner's getting nervous. And then all of a sudden it's silent. No more noise, and they're looking at each other. And then they hear a voice that says, "Well, what about those two at the gate?"
Oh, that was definitely a high five. That's hilarious.
I should stop right there.
Yeah, you should stop. You should cut it off.
Right there. That was a
Cut
good
it
one.
off.
All right, so let's get on to a video.
Let's go.
All right. All right, here we are. Got the front of the motorhome in the shade. We are back from the big trip, probably 6 weeks now, 7 weeks, and this thing hasn't been cleaned yet. I've washed pretty much the bottom of it except the front here. Still got to wash the top, but you know, believe it or not, time sneaks up on you in a hurry. And this motorhome is 7 years old now, and it's about time to give it a good wash and a bit of a polish and wax. So that's where we're headed. I mean, you can just see that there are embedded bugs, dull finish. Got some work to do here. So we're going to get started. Going to wash up the front of it, wash around the sides, and then when it dries out, we'll get started on cleaning it up. All right, so right now where we're at, we're 2 steps into what is going to become a 4-step process. Right now, the doggone motorhome has been washed, and you know, this was a long trip we went on. trees in places, things in places, and so there were little scratch marks down the side, and just dirt, just mess. And so first step, of course, was wash this thing. Second step was to compound it and get all the little scratches and imperfections back out. So now what we have is a clean motorhome, but finish is a little dull still. So the next step will be to polish this thing, and then the final step will be to wax it. But here it is, looking a whole lot better. Looking a whole lot better. And of course it was raining. Most of the washing was done in the rain, and then the compounding. But you can still see the skies. We're back in Florida. We went all that time in the deserts and no rain and all, and now here we are, rain every day, just work in it and around it. But there it is, clean and compounded out, ready to buff out again. Okay, so as I said, we're finished with 2 out of 4 steps on this thing. It's been lightly compounded, washed and lightly compounded. You can see now, you can step right up to it, and that, I mean, I am 6 inches away, and all you can see is a shadow of my fingers holding this camera and the camera. But if you walk over here to the Winnie of the Winnebago, all of a sudden you can see me and the camera and the building and everything behind us, because what I've done right here at just one little section is went ahead and did the next polishing stage. So you can see right up here where I didn't. Dull as it can be, dull, 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 but right on the hood, half of the hood, right across to the Winnie, has been polished. The Bago has not been polished. So right then, the rest of the motorhome has to be given the Winnie treatment, and then we'll get on to the final stage, which will be basically the waxing. So we're on it.
Okay, Terry, tell us what you're doing.
Okay, so this is what I'm hoping is the final step in the refurbishment of the exterior finish on this motorhome. I am now applying by hand wax onto this thing.
What are the previous steps?
Okay, the previous steps, as we have seen, was a washing and a compounding. That was 2 steps. And then a polishing. And the polishing was what got it to looking like this.
Wow.
And now this right here, really not going to make it look a lot better, but it's going to seal it. So that the sun doesn't deteriorate it near.
Boy, that shines so nice.
So now, honestly, it does look just like it did when it was brand new.
It looks brand new.
So the problem with it is that before I quit today, probably I'll have the front waxed.
Yeah.
But that's all I've done.
Well,
I've done from the front of the windows this way.
Yeah.
It's taken 3 days.
but it's massive, Terry.
It is, and of course the front is the very worst,
Yeah.
because it's typically in the sun and it gets all the bugs.
All the bugs hit it.
That's it, man. That's
But you did from the very top up there where the lights are,
Yeah.
all around there and
Yeah.
all down. So you use the polisher.
Okay, I use I used just regular McGuire's car wash, and then part of the compounding, and if I say this out loud, I've been deliberately just saying that I've been compounding it, but I use a little flat material and comet cleanser.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And
you had
that's-
to on the
and
front
that
especially.
scrapes the crap out
Right.
of the finish, but then you go back with what I'm using now is the Grios. Basically, it's a compound, but it's
Yeah.
only a number 5, and it gets all the swirls out, gets all the stuff that I got in it when I use the compound, as I say.
Yeah.
And then over here, I tried a standard polish on it, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to do that. That's the step I'm going to leave out. that would be a 5th step. But at some point, it just gets to where I can't see the difference.
That just looks amazing, though. That is
So-
slick as glass.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks really good. All right, so you have done the whole front, but I know that you used the polisher on part of the back.
No. I used some stuff that we had before I went buying.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't good.
So,
Probably was all right. But
yeah.
the same thing on the truck. I started to mess with the hood of the truck, which is completely dead.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going to do when I'm finished with this, or maybe just later, I'm going to go over there and do half of that hood
Yeah.
and see what half of it looks like. But anyway, so there you go.
Yeah.
That's waxed. I got to get the rest of the wax on here, and then I'll be ready to start down. What I'll do, you can't do it in the direct sun and all.
Right.
So I'll always do the back side. So I'll do this back side next.
Uh-huh. Because
Then
that's in
I'll
the sun.
Turn the motorhome around.
Yeah.
Do the back of the motorhome here, and then that side will be over here, and I'll be able to do it. So, but yeah, you can see yourself in there.
Oh my gosh, it really looks good. Yeah, exactly.
And it was dull, as you saw in the
Oh
others.
my gosh, yes. It
was
looks
totally
so
dull.
good. All righty.
That's it.
Thank you.
You got it.
Okay, Terry is getting ready to... What's this step called, Terry?
Okay, this is the compound. This is a complete compound by Griot's.
Uh-huh.
I got 5 little dots on here.
Hang on, and I'll just get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mixture.
Yep.
And then he's got 5 little dots on the pad.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go right here, and we're going to splatter them 5 little dots on here.
Uh-huh.
Then, with the setting on 1, we're going to start putting it on and spreading it out.
Uh-huh.
That's all we do is spread it out. There we go. And then, when it's spread out like that, we pick it up to about 4. And then we start polishing.
How long do you polish it?
About 4 times up and down, 4 times left and right.
Uh-huh. Or that's the polishing.
Polishing of it.
Uh-huh.
And then you do that until it's pretty much hazed over and glazed over. And then you just come right back and wipe that off, whatever's left.
Wow.
And then what you see is a new looking motorhome.
Now, what we haven't seen you do is the step you've done before that.
Yeah, I kind of filmed a little and talked about it a little, but mostly talked about it. Mainly because what I did before, just other than the washing with the McGuire's soap, you know, automotive soap,
Yeah.
I keep talking about compounding it, and that is not what anybody would do the way I do it, so I didn't show that. Because we would get comments below that says, "What the heck is wrong with you?"
Wow, that looks so good. I don't know if the camera is picking up
Well,
the shine, but that is
should.
amazing.
You see right here's where I just went to, and right
Oh
here
yeah,
is where
you
it's
can
not.
see the.
So
If I can see the reflection of the ladder halfway. That is amazing.
yeah,
Completely amazing.
so
Awesome.
that's what we're working towards. And
So-
then once that's done
Yeah.
over the entire surface, we'll go back and put wax on it,
Yeah, to hold that in.
and that'll seal it in, and then we should be ready to go for a little while longer.
Cool.
We'll
Ready
touch
for-
it up before we head up to Alaska.
Yeah. Well, we're going the other direction in about a month.
Actually, and when we get back from that, probably it'll just be a wash and use that little spray on.
Yeah.
Something like a turtle wax, but a little spray on thing just to brighten it up. But then it won't get this full treatment for another couple of years.
We're going from one extreme to the other, aren't we?
That's right. That's right. So
okay.
we're on our way. It's looking
Thank
like a
you.
winner. All right. It is, believe it or not, it's at least a week and a half after the last time that we took a few pictures here, and I'm still on this thing. It's doing well, doing good, but that gummit is taking me forever. So, but we're gonna stay right with it. Not supposed to do this in the direct sunlight, so I'll put the canopy out. So there you go. Get this thing going here, see if we can make a difference. That's beautiful, so we're going to continue to march. Pick it up in a few minutes. Alright, so what we're doing now is the motorhome has been waxed, polished, and cleaned up. So now we're using our Armor All Extreme Tire Shine, and we're using it on every single rubber surface that there is on this motorhome. That'll clean it up, clean the wheels up a little bit, but that'll clean this thing up.
Boy, that's crazy.
Make it shine. Every little surface. I mean, things you didn't even think about. Here's the handle. It's rubber.
Yeah.
You wipe that stuff on there, and a couple things will happen. It'll pop, and it won't deteriorate. This stuff really helps.
Kind of protects it like wax in a way,
so
huh?
basically, I'll go around, and I will do all the rubber around every window.
Oh, wow.
Every tire, of course, everything that's got a rubber surface anywhere on it. And then we'll be done. We'll be ready to head south. All right, so here we are. The motorhome is clean and ready to go. Which, by the way, we will be starting tomorrow, loading it up and packing it, pulling the kayaks out and loading the car up. Another day after that, we'll be hooking the car up and pulling out, heading down towards the Florida Keys. Stops in Jonathan Dickinson State Park near Jupiter, where we hope, if the weather's cooperating, we'll be able to get a little bit of snorkeling in. And then on down to Pennicamp, which is in Key Largo, Bahia Honda, just past Marathon. And then our ultimate stop will be down in the Dry Tortugas at Fort Jefferson, but that'll only be a day trip down on the Yankee Freedom. But there it is, buddy. One cleaned up motorhome. I tell you what, before that thing was done, I began to feel my age, because it was a long ways around this thing for such a small motorhome. But there it is. Alright, so I think the lesson of this video is that just because you're retired doesn't mean it's all fun and games. That really was a lot of work. I'll be honest with you. I have waxed a motorhome before, but just a quick run around it after a wash. That's the first time I've ever, in fact, first time I ever polished anything. I had to watch a lot of YouTubes to even learn what I was doing to do that. And it took me a good while. But boy, the results were great. A lot better than I ever thought they would be.
Looks so good.
Yeah, it does. So it was not a how-to, wasn't a tutorial, just letting you know what I did for basically a week and a half, almost 2 weeks it took me to go around that thing. But it's done now, and we have another trip coming up in just a couple of days. So we're going to be styling and profiling while we're riding down the road, because she's shining like new money.
Oh, it looks so good. And if you're interested in the products or even the polisher that Terry used, we linked all the products in the description down below. So all the listings are for Amazon, but Terry got all the products locally between Harbor Freight and where else?
Oh, just, I think it was AutoZone and places like that. They pretty much all carry that.
They all can be found locally here, but they can also be found all on Amazon.
That's right. So however you want to do it, if you want to do it. It really is fun for the first day.
And it would be so much faster on a car.
Well, plus the fact that, you know, and I lamented this to anyone that talked to me while I was doing it. You know, cars have a whole lot of horizontal surface.
Yeah.
You know, the hood, the trunk, the top, and all that. Motorhomes don't. You're holding that thing this way. So yeah, it's a lot more fun.
But it really does look good. We've got another video coming up before the trip, and so look out for that, and we'll see you soon.
You got it.
Peace.